and my name is Ashley Davis, and I'll be talking about social dance in the United States. So to start off, we're going to talk about our early settlers, and some of our early settlers were from England, Scotland, and Ireland, and their dances had more intricate footwork where it was a specific detail in the footwork that you had to do in order to do the right moves or right dance. And those dances were called reels, contra dances, jigs, square, and round dances. And then some of our other settlers were French settlers, and they brought over dances that were called cantillon and quadrille. And quadrille needed 4 people to do this dance, which I think is pretty interesting and pretty cool. And then some of our European dances that we now have in the United States are the waltz, polka, and an interesting dance called schottisch, which is another slow type of polka. And then on top of that, at the same time, we had Africans. And they weren't necessarily just settlers that chose to come over here. They were slaves to white men. And they were making their own music and doing their own type of dances. But the one thing they could not use was the drums. And that was because the slave masters, they ruled that out and they were not allowed to use that. So Africans, to mimic a drum of this drum sound, they clapped and they stomped their feet just to mimic the sound and have lots of fun. And they did different types of dance circles where they just had fun and did their own little dance moves and style that they made up on the fly, or maybe they practiced this dance. But the instruments that they were able to use were tambourines, fiddles, and banjos. Now, kicking into the 20th century, in the 1920s, we have the Harlem Renaissance. So the Harlem Renaissance is the celebration of African culture. And there were lots of movements in this time that were more feet movements, hip movements, and arm movements were a little bit more difficult to do, but they were really fun and energetic to do. And in this video, this lady, she's doing the Charleston. And the Charleston was a Harlem Renaissance favorite, along with the Big Apple, Susie Q, Black Bottom, Lindy Hop, and the Jitterbug. And also Lindy Hop, it became a favorite among the African American youth because they did it in like dance recitals and partner dances as well. Now in the 1930s, we had Latin dance come into the mix. And Latin dance was popular because of this movie, this Hollywood movie, Flying Down to Rio. And it became really popular during that time. And then next we have some Brazil moves, which is called samba. But samba is a mix of Latin dance style and African dance style. But then next we have Cuba and the Caribbean. Now, some of their dance moves are pretty fast moving, or they can be really slow. But some of their dances are rumba, tango, conga, and cha-cha. And then next we have the Argentina. So they have their Argentina tango that we have integrated into our American/United States culture. But you can see, as you can see that from Cuba and Caribbean, they also have a tango, and Argentina has a tango. So you can see that they both have a tango, but they have their own different flares just because of where they came from. Now in the 1950s, young people were mixing black and white music and dance styles together. So like black people music and white people music were being mixed together and made into like lots of different songs, and they wanted to use both cultures. But then because of that, so African American rhythm and blues also became mainstreaming. And with all in the mix, bringing it all together full circle, it was transformed, and the songs and dances were transformed into rock and roll. And associated with rock and roll is the king of rock, which is Elvis Presley. Now, Elvis Presley is a well-known man, but a lot of his dance moves were not originated from him. A lot of his dance moves were from neighboring Black communities or African communities that he has seen and been around. So he sort of is to say stole those dance moves from them and called it his own. and made it popular among the white community. Now, in the 1960s, the twist became a very popular dance. Here's why. Because it was a partner dance, but it also could be a solo dance. Now, the thing is, you don't have to touch each other. You just have to stand next to each other or in front of each other and just have fun and twist around. And just do all these other fun dance moves that you would like to do. And in the 1970s, partner dancing, solo dancing, and line dancing, lots of dances arose in this time, but also hip hop and break dancing became a thing in the 1970s. Now, this was something that you had to have skill to do. It couldn't be like, oh, let me just go do it. It's going to be a little bit harder. You need a little bit more training and more practice. And this became a thing because Black and Hispanic youth, they brought it to the streets of New York. And then in the 1980s, hip hop was in the mainstream, which was super exciting. But then we also had slam dancing and moshing, as what we call it in the United States. So punk rock fans in England, they made this dance called slam dancing. And it became it is dangerous. It can be, but it's a fun way for people that love punk rock or heavy metal to enjoy their time, or just something special for them to do as well. And in the 1990s, we had the time of hip hop became worldwide, and people described hip hop as popping, hitting, locking, b-boying, ticking, and boogaloo, which is a really fun word to say. And then also we have the Macarena, which became really popular among social gatherings or the Democratic and Republican political conventions. Now, in the 20th century, we had lots of dances that became popular in the United States, and they all integrated together to be the American or United States culture, which I think is really cool to be a part of that and have so many different types of dances to choose from and to learn. And that is all I have. Thank you.